I love music. I was the only foreigner working at the O2 Arena at the time. I am not a big gambler. Met my wife pretty quickly. I speak French to my kids. My wife speaks Czech to them, and I speak English with my wife. I bought a little gift
Oh yeah,
actually that
true.
you can offer your one of your followers.
Show it to the
It's a little tote bag about Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Hey, it's Xuksu, Prague Expat Stories. Anthony, do you remember your first day in Prague?
Yes, I do. I came from Canada. I was coming only for a few months at a time, and I went straight to a concert at the O2 Arena of Black Eyed Peas that we were involved with.
Perfect. What do you mean involved with?
I was working in Canada, and my boss, he had a consulting contract with the O2 Arena to help them organize more concerts in-house. So basically, at the time, he didn't really have time to take care of that contract, and I was ready for a new challenge. So after 4 years in Canada, I decided to take the opportunity and to move here. And it turned out not to be 4 months, but then to be 15 years.
So welcome, Anthony, to the fourth episode of Xuksu podcast. Thank you so much for making it. Would you mind quickly introducing yourself?
So I'm Anthony. I am French. I grew up close to Nantes. I very quickly realized I wanted to work in the music field. Also realized I was not good enough as a musician, that I was very interested in organizing things. I also was trying to get involved with as many projects as possible, organizing small festivals with friends, working on top of my bachelor degree and master degree, working for a music venue all year long, like in Nantes. And yeah, I just had an opportunity to do a last internship in Canada, and that's how I actually met Jacob, who's my current business partner.
And your boss, so he was Czech living in Canada?
Yes, so basically his parents emigrated during communism, and so he grew up in Canada. But thanks to his background, he had this consulting contract with the arena, and that's how the opportunity came up.
And so you came to live in Czech Republic. How was your first week?
Yeah, I mean, it was a big change. It was a very quick decision. Getting older, willing to get a little closer to family and childhood friends. And I felt Prague was a nice move, a new adventure. And then the first weekend, I was actually staying at my former boss' grandma's place in close to Kobylisy. And first weekend, I was mowing the grass of his grandma, which makes me smile now. And I could barely, I didn't know much about Czech Republic. I didn't know a word of Czech. And I was not actually at that time thinking about staying here for a long period of time. But then I felt good, met my wife pretty quickly, and also found there was an opportunity to start my own business here and to run my own agency. I was pretty actually quickly frustrated to be tied only to a big arena, a big venue. I love music, and I wanted to do development, working with artists on a small level, and doing a bit of an analysis of the market and landscape here. I found very quickly there was a gap in the market, and there was a big company called Live Nation that a lot of people heard about. It was already present at the time, but they were only working with arena and stadium shows, mostly classic rock. And there were a few dedicated specialized promoters, but not someone that would, work with every music genre. And yeah, I just started very organically, studying on my own, and then hired freelancers, and then, build a team years pretty quickly. But yeah, very organic growth, basically.
Very nice story. So 2010, you've arrived to O2 Arena. You're 27, and in 2010, Prague is like not the Prague we know today. Like it's still like, I guess, very much less diverse than it is today. So who was surrounding you at the time? Like, were you the only
I was the only foreigner working at the O2 Arena at the time. I felt obviously the timing was great. It's just the market was not so structured, so established. So I think I had a easier chance to basically develop my activity. I liked the energy of the city. I also I'm not really a big city person. I grew up in the countryside, so I felt Prague was the right size. It's just size of Lyon or Dublin, and it's a capital, so that's offer the advantage of a capital, international airport, and obviously, for what I do is like you need to be in Prague to be able to like the international artists we work with. They usually do only one show. It would be in Prague, so I think it made sense.
So you started your company. How would you explain your company's strategy? Like, how are you still like in the game today, basically?
I mean, it's lots of passion, work. I always liked what I do. It's just for me, it was always very important to enjoy my work. I was stuck in my childhood when I was doing like a summer job and working for a shoe factory, and the first thing I heard from a bunch of people working there is like, "Oh, looking forward to the weekend, cannot wait." And I promised myself at that time that I will do whatever it takes to do something I like. And I mean, I never felt that I was working. I love what I do. It's fun, and and obviously lucky enough that it's working well, and but this is a big privilege. So I am lucky enough. I surrounded myself with a great team of people. I think you need a part of luck. Obviously, I think I met the right person who has a reason why I came here, and yeah, it worked out for me.
Very inspiring. Is your team today like mostly international, or do you work mostly with Czech people still?
Mostly with Czech people. I have two separate teams. Like I started in 2011 Fource, Czech Republic, and I started in 2017 a Polish office. But yeah, it's just mostly like Czech people in Czech Republic and obviously Polish people in Poland.
Was there any differences in like starting a business in Czech Republic rather than in Poland or maybe in France?
I find it very easy in Czech Republic to start a business. I think it was very friendly. In Poland, it's very different. It's not easy. There's a lot way more bureaucracy. Like the administrative obstacles are definitely more challenging, but it worked out as well.
So why are you so passionate about the culture, the music?
I mean, I love music. I think it's such an important, vital element of society. It gather people. It just we create like amazing memories, and I think it's a never-ending field. There's always new music coming out. It's obviously we don't control any of this, but it makes now the new technologies have made things way easier to actually produce music. So people, there's a lot of people that can do actually produce music from home and
Podcast.
at
Yeah.
podcasts. So yeah, so I like the fire. It's infinite, basically. It's never the same. So every day is different, and so yeah.
What's your favorite concert venue in Prague, or what's your favorite concert you've been here?
Wow, that's a tough question. It's a tough question. Well, lately we did it last October. We did Nick Cave in the Bad Seeds, and that was like a beautiful concert. It's difficult to have a good sound at the O2 Arena. It was a beautiful, beautiful concert, and I was so proud we did that. Actually, last week we did a hardcore band from the US called Turnstile. Such a good energy, incredible concert, nice team. So yeah, very, very happy we did that as well. It was the first time they were coming to, second time they were actually coming to the market. And yeah, just I like that feeling, like to be in the crowd and look at a band you've been promoted for a few months and seeing all these fans smiling. That's very fulfilling, and that's why I do that. I think.
So how many concerts have you been to in your life?
Well, I
Or like weekly?
it's not like when I arrived in Canada, for instance, I was going 5 shows a week, I think. But like
That's a budget.
yeah, yeah. But when you work in the field,
Yeah,
like
okay.
you don't have to pay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's funny. Like if you're working in a bakery, you don't pay for your pain au chocolat, or your croissant. If you work in the field, usually you don't pay for it. But yeah, I was going to every show. Like I liked it. I wanted to take as much as possible. I wanted to learn. I wanted to absorb it. Like I wanted to, and I still go to a lot of shows. I mean, I like to go to all my shows, and sometimes it's difficult. But and I think also part of our success is like I like to be there. I like to understand who is coming there. I like to see if the show how is it received. So yeah, as I say, it's never the same. So it's great. It's just I
It sounds very much like an extrovert job, you know, like you meet people all of the time. You have to like keep in touch with everyone to stay on like on board and like to stay in the game kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of relationships. There is it's a very concentrated industry, very small industry. So let's say 6, 7 big booking agencies are usually based in the UK and the US will represent the big majority of artists, international artists that will come to Prague. So it's very important to like maintain this great connection and feel like over the years we've obviously I think delivered good services for these artists and they know that we're a trustworthy partner and a lot of people are still passionate. These things are changing, so it's competition is difficult. Like it's like the prices are increasing, and so sometimes you are pushed to offer a little more money than you'll be comfortable to. But if you want to get a chance to work with an artist, and if you believe in it, in the potential, you know that it's now, or it's gonna be too late. So there's a lot of pressure. Lucky enough, I was born with that ability to handle that pressure and that's the stress that goes with it pretty well. And I feel lucky because it can be I think very very much draining for a lot of people and too much risk, a lot of uncertainty. When most of what we do basically to maybe explain a bit is like 95% of work is like we are going to buy a show, so basically we're in touch with that one agent, or either we're getting in touch with them or he's getting in touch with us. But we submit an idea of where we think the artist should play. We submit a budget, we negotiate. Sometimes there's obviously other players and promoters trying to reach and trying to promote the same artist. So there's some obviously competition going. And then, when you were chosen to be the right partner, you put the shows on sale. So you take care of the ticketing, you take care of all the production of the event, all the marketing of the event. And you're hoping that you gauge your potential well enough that you are not only going to break even, but hopefully sell extra tickets to be able to make money out of it. And there's a lot of reason why you would do a show. Like sometimes you are not going to make money, but it's an investment for your future. Sometimes you're kind of forced to work with that artist because there's another artist of the same agent that you really believe in and you want to work with, but you need to please him with one other of his client. There's also happening. But you don't win every time. Sometimes you miscalculated, you misjudged, and that's part of the job. A big, very important part of what we do is the cash flow. Like you need to make sure that you don't misjudge too often, otherwise you're going to be out very quickly. Luckily, it's been 15 years, so I think that we are able to do that pretty well. And yeah, that's a game basically.
Nice, congrats. So, what would you say are the main rules of the Czech music industry or like promoters in Czech Republic?
I don't know. I think the rules are the same everywhere. It's just that sometimes it's very important because obviously, as I said before, I'm very passionate about music in general, but it's very important that to be able to distance yourself from your own passion. And there are artists that I mean, you love them, and some people could actually fall into that trap where you love them, they're amazing, they sound so good to you, and you think that everybody's saying the same. And but sometimes it's just it's a personal taste, right? So there are artists that I really like that we lost a bit of money on, but I knew about it and no regret because I love the artist. It's an Australian artist called Rai X, for instance, that we did a show at Palace Acropolis many years ago. It was, for 500 people, but I mean, he can sell more tickets elsewhere, but still, I'm very happy we did it. And luckily, we are fully independent and we can still afford to make these kind of choices and promote artists because we love the music, not only because we think that that's going to be artists that are going to pay our bills that month, but basically the part of our work and my work is like to kind of balance this. Like you want people in our team. I want them to be passionate about what we do and to love what we do. And some shows that we're going to do it, we know that it's not going to be like, a big money maker, but because, simply because I want people to still have this fire and inside. And luckily, as I said, we don't have to report to anyone. It's just, we are very proud of waving that independent flag still. Usually you have, let's say, between 4 and 8 months to promote a show. So you usually, as soon as the show go on sale, pretty quickly if that's going to be a success or not. So you have time to plan it. But now we do. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of shows happening in Prague. It's even, becoming saturated for the size of the city. And sometimes, I think definitely some shows are competing with each other and cannibalizing each other in a way. So you need to make sure that, like you need to make the right calls. But the issue is like you are in this system, right? You have this constant pressure of if you're not the one saying yes or doing a show, maybe one of your competitors is going to do it. And maybe that's the next big thing. And that the constant pressure of like the FOMO of, I've never actually been really driven by the financial outcome of what I do. I've been driven because of the passion, because you are in this thing and you want to discover this new talent. And I don't know, it's a weird thing to say maybe, but
It does sound like a game or gambling, like is it
I think a few years ago, I was just actually stepping back saying, I think I'm addicted to that. I'm addicted to what I do. So maybe there's a gambling addiction, but I am not a big gambler. I know, I come from middle class, like background, parents, primary school teachers, definitely not gamblers. I've always been shocked a few times I went to casinos. I've always been shocked about having these people like, putting so much money on the table. And so obviously the gambling to me is like where you have absolutely no control. Like we make, I think, reasonable choices and risk assessment. Yeah. The trends are changing as well a lot, which makes it interesting. So there's good music in every genre, and you need to make sure that you are open enough to, to keep yourself, informed of what's going on, what you like, what people like. And yeah, it's fun.
Because I don't know what's your vision about it or how you see Czech people, but to me, Czech people are very cautious, anything money-wise, So hearing you saying like, okay, we have to do this risk assessment, and you're mostly working with Czech people, how do they feel about?
Yeah, but I think it's different when it comes to music. Like it's because that it's not about, if you're talking about buying, I don't know, potatoes or I don't know, toilet paper, it's obviously, I think, yeah, like there's some resistance about the price that people are, looking for the discount. But when it comes to music, it's like we are the only one. I mean, when we got the chance to win one tender or like how you want to call it, but to work with an artist, we are the only one bringing that specific artist. So it's very connected to emotion. And people, when it comes to like, be willing to go to a show of their favorite new artist, I don't think that, the money, I don't think that this is a decisive factor. Don't get me wrong. I'm very sensitive to pricing. And that's something that is actually changing. Right now, you see that some concerts are being extremely expensive. Festivals are more expensive. And to me, I think we are much cheaper, for instance, when it comes to concerts than Germany. And to me, it's very important that I keep price accessible. And we see it elsewhere in the world, like there's, a big push on ticket prices. And I don't want to start doing shows for an elite only. And I think that the risk that we see for the years to come is like slowly, like concerts are not going to be affordable for some people. And I think that's quite sad as a statement. But so we need to be, music is a vital element of our society, gathers people. It's, promote like so many important things, values. And I think we need to make sure to make all the efforts we can to still have these shows affordable.
Is this how you met your wife? Like, did you bond it over music?
Not at all. Not at all.
I think she's Czech, right?
Yeah, she's Czech, but I think I'm already spending so much time for the music industry. I think if my wife was really into this, I would probably have burned out many years ago. I think it's good that she's doing something completely different. And so for me, it's like when I go home, I can try to not switch off, because I never switch off completely, but like focus on other stuff. We have obviously we have also kids and to look after. And so I'm trying, even though, I'm passionate, I'm even, as I said, like maybe addicted, I work out like a little bit. I still, trying to be a good dad and a good partner and find the time that my kids need and my wife needs.
Was it the first time you were like in a bilingual relationship, like with someone from another country than yours?
No, no.
So you know how to like ride that horse, if that's an expression. I don't know how to say.
No, I was like, for me, she has always been very supportive of what I do. And even at the beginning, obviously I started with nothing and I was always worked a lot. So she always accepted that. We met at a bar a few months after I arrived. And I think there was a little bit of a short period of adjustment, of understanding needed, like about the culture difference. But very quickly, just everything worked very well. And it was also, it's been very easy. She's very easygoing. She's amazing. I'm very, very lucky.
Nice.
I mean, there's something that you don't choose, but you choose the person you are with. And I chose well. Or she chose me, I don't know.
What are, in your opinions, like the best part and worst part of being in a bilingual relationship?
I think this is the only good part. I just
Okay.
don't know.
Oh,
I mean, I'm very I struggle when I moved to Canada. I could barely speak English. It was we have a big issue in France, or I would say all the Latin countries have that issues, but with linguistics in general, languages, and the fact, for my kids, I think the fact to be able to grow in a multi languages environment is a gift. And we have three languages at home. I speak French to my kids. My wife speaks Czech to them, and I speak English with my wife. That's a language that we picked from the very beginning because we're on the same level, and I think it was kind of a natural, and we didn't switch that. And I feel it's good because the kids have, even though English for them it's a passive learning, they will, very easily already right now, like on a very early age being trilingual, which is like a huge advantage in life. So I think that's a nice, good advantage. And now there is no. I think after the years, you understand. Like if you have been together with like for 15 years, I think it looks like you understand each other and
the
you're on the same
pros and
page.
cons for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know at all if you speak Czech, because like, so your kids speak Czech fluently. They go to Czech schools, like they don't go to international school, right?
Yeah, there because we're living a bit outside of the city, and it was obvious to keep them in our local school. We're lucky enough that there is a special class which is English driven for all the non-essential subjects. Basically, it's a native speaker in American, basically teaching them. But it's still a public school, and for me, I grew up in a countryside environment, and the connection that you create your childhood with, going to birthday parties, playing football after school with your neighbors has always been very interesting to me and very exciting to me. And I think I wanted to offer that to my kids. So just, like they basically are there.
But is it not a problem? But so your kids speak Czech and you don't
No,
fully.
I didn't understand that. Yeah, no, I understand Czech. I understand. I speak
Okay.
it also. Like I go around. I manage extremely difficult language, as everybody would agree. But yeah, it's just see, I understand what they say. But sometimes I think it's also a good thing that obviously their Czech is much better than mine. But I think it's kids can teach us things as well. It's not only one way. And I think it's a perfect example of it. That sometimes I will ask my son, "Oh, yeah, I forgot how to say that. Can you tell me?" And I think it's great. I should like it's a nice balance.
Yeah. So do they feel Czech, or do they feel half Czech, half French? Like, can you feel that?
Yeah, I think they feel both. I mean, we have a lot of connection with France, so we go there regularly. And no, I think they are proud of being binational. And yeah, we make fun sometimes. When there is a Czech against French, they will obviously pick the favorite team. And hockey, they would definitely be cheering for Czech Republic. But football, definitely is cheer for France. So yeah, they're not. I think it's great. Like open way more doors for them, and just to be, that's it's nice, good privilege. I feel.
Did they ever ask to move to France, or they don't really care about it?
I think they are too young. Like and right now, they have a little bubble of friends, and I think just they're enjoying that a lot, and I'm very happy to see them grow and making the best of this. And no, just they, maybe one day, just maybe university in France, if they want to, but we'll see.
Is there one thing you would like to change about Czech Republic?
I'm always mentioning two things.
Okay.
The two things that I like the least. Can I say that?
Yeah.
First is sunshine. That obviously will never be able to change that. But if I compare to Nantes,
I was gonna say, but you're coming from Nantes. It's not like it's shining.
is 1 hour difference in the sunset is
Okay,
1 hour
yes, yes,
later.
yes. Okay.
So And this is obviously a more like late person with all the concerts than a
So you
morning
mean
person.
you mean the sunlight, like
Yeah,
the daytime,
daytime.
not like the amount of sunshine you get a
Sorry.
year. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So daytime, basically the same daytime, but later in the evening, and it's quite pleasant.
Sure.
This and coming back from Canada, and especially Toronto, which is an extremely cosmopolitan city, I always miss that a bit. It's changing a little bit, but I always feel that I would enjoy a little more color, a little more. But yeah, just I mean, that's there is still, I think it's very present. There is some xenophobia still in the Czech Republic towards minorities, or even, which is changing. New generation is obviously way more open, but that's maybe like a little negative aspect
Yeah,
of it.
I agree with both of your points for sure. Like in one of my reels on Instagram, someone was commenting that I should invite people from very diverse ethnicities on the podcast, and it's in the plan. I just need to meet them somehow, and I have a few contacts, so it will come on the podcast, so we can have like various point of view about Czech Republic on this podcast. But thanks for bringing it up. What about, so this was what you would like to change about Czech Republic?
I
What are,
cannot change, but
yeah, no. What is the main thing that makes you stay apart from your job and family?
I feel good here. I just as long as every morning I wake up and I'm happy to go to work and I'm having fun there, and my kids, my wife are happy here. Just I don't see a reason why. But I think I wouldn't picture myself living elsewhere.
What's one thing you miss most from France?
I think you just I think I'm not the only one thinking that way, but sometimes you think that, oh, I should move back to where I grew up and I be closer to family, be closer to my old friends. But then when you go back there, you realize that actually they don't see each other as much as you would expect, right? But when you are, I think, living elsewhere and far away, you kind of tend to idealize like how it is elsewhere. And I think here we managed to build a nice community of people and good friends. Some are French, and trying to create a little bubble. But it's important to me. I'm a social person. I like to have good people around, and I can invite for barbecues.
For sure. Yeah, I myself have been here for like close to 7 years now. And I was supposed to be here for two. And every time I'm like, okay, another 2 years before I move somewhere else. And I think a month ago, it was the first time I was like, I think I'm just going to stay here. And I'm starting to be okay with this idea of like staying here. Because as you mentioned, like the size of the city, the culture, I don't think I could find like this anywhere else, basically. But maybe I'm biased. Okay, last two questions. If you could relive one day or one experience here in the Czech Republic, which one would it be?
2 years ago, I finally made the decision to get married after 13 years, I think, of relationship. And it was a great moment. A lot of very nice people I love around, and a lot of people from France came over, and it was a wonderful moment. I didn't call it a wedding. I don't know. I call it a mini festival. It was also a 40th birthday, so
Okay.
it was yeah, it was wonderful, magical, and it feels good to have people you love around you gather, and I always like that. So yeah, probably
I think it's
this one.
even more cool to get married once you already have kids, because then kids gets to witness it, and it's just like super nice.
Yeah, that was one of the reason. I mean, after two kids, I think kids are a bigger commitment than the wedding itself. But we wanted to make that official for the kids as well. They were asking, "Why, man? Why don't you have the same name?" So, but it was, like a beautiful moment.
You just brought up a like interesting topic about the names when you get married in Czech Republic, because so there's several options. It's different because you're the man, so she's most likely to take your name, and she can't really put Ova to it, right? Can she?
No, but she wanted to be Joy,
Okay.
so it was easy.
Yes. Because I have friends, she's French and her husband is Czech. And so the traditional way was for her to take his name and to add Ova to it, but she didn't want that. So it was like a very very long discussion with like the town hall to be like what they can do. Can they have both of their names like without the ova? And they were like really.
Yeah, I think there is a little more flexibility to it now, but it used to be, very traditional, and yeah, you couldn't really go against a few years ago, but I think it's probably changing a bit.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on this podcast. And it was very interesting to hear all about your life in general. My last question for you is I'm asking all of the guests at the end to make a wish and to blow this little candle. So you don't tell us the wish, you just think about it, blow the candle, and I just hope it comes true to you. And if it does, you can come back on the podcast and tell us about it. How does that sound? Do you like making wishes? Do you have one?
I got it.
Okay, cool. Then go ahead.
Thank you so much
Nice.
for having me. I bought a little gift
Oh, yeah,
actually that
sure.
you can offer one of your followers.
Show it to the
It's
camera.
it's a little tote bag about Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. It was a beautiful, beautiful concert we had last October at the O2 Arena.
Nice.
I was really amazed, and I just, I'm sure there are probably fans of that artist and your following community. So hopefully someone will want to have this gift.
We'll brainstorm what we can do on social media. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks again.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoy the podcast, please share, subscribe, let us know in the comments if you have any other topics or ideas of guests. So yeah, see you around for the next episode in a month.